Today, I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about Cadence Law. For those of you that have not heard about it, you may be seeing it around later, where it's talking about Cadence Law, or another name for it is a reappropriation of the Violence Against Women's Act 2022. Now, my name is Petra Dieter, and I'm from Victim to Hero Institute. The reason I wanted to talk to you guys about this, because this bill can really seriously impact the victim of parental alienation. So let me talk to you guys a little bit about what this is. So the name Cadence came from this particular case where a child was killed by a parent, and this is an abusive parent. And so it is definitely a very tragic situation. And the intent for the legislators in this bill is that we wanted to prevent more situations where children are being killed in, children's safety is being protected from family violence. It's a very good intent. And when you're looking at this bill, when you're looking at this bill, from the wording of it and from the intent of it, it seemed like a good intention. So for a legislator who is not informed, it's easy for them to say, well, I want to do the right thing, right? Who doesn't want to protect children? Who doesn't want to protect women from family violence? It seemed like a really good thing, right? So on the surface, it seemed like a good thing. And that's why and I want to clarify, there are two bills. They essentially are companion bills, meaning that they are exactly the same bills that are being pushed through both chambers of the government, so both the Senate and the House. And I will give you guys the exact name of those. And those bills are actually not passed yet. They are still in the Senate and in the House waiting to go through the process. But in the meantime, the legislator, the certain advocates group have managed to put the wordings of these bills that have not passed into an appropriation bill. Appropriation bill is a budget bill, right? It's not a bill that normally address the issue. It's address the budgets that are being allocated to certain issues. So the bills itself hasn't passed, but yet they managed to put all the wordings in this bill into an appropriation bill, and that bill passed and has been signed by President Biden, and so now it has become a law. So what has become a law is a budget bill, is an appropriation bill, and that is a HR 2471. So HR 2471 is a bill that came from the House. It gone through the House, gone through the Senate, and it got signed by the president. And so that particular one is, like I said, is an appropriation, or the budget bill, and it's called the Consolidated Appropriation Act 2022. Now, in that, it has the wording of the other two bills that they're still trying to push through. So now it has become the law, even though the other bills are not the law yet. Now, the other two bill is, one of them is HR 1620. It's a because it starts with HR, you can tell that it's come from the House. And so that bill is was authored by Rep. Jackson Lee, Shayla, and so that one is called the Violence Against Women Act Reauthorization Act of 2021, and the companion bill, meaning there's a bill in the Senate that carry similar wordings, is from Senator Feinstein, and it's Bill S3623, and it's called Violence Against Women Act Reauthorization Act of 2022. And these bills have not passed yet, like I mentioned. But the one that passed is the appropriation bill. And the problem with these bills, the wordings in this bill, is that on the surface, it seemed like it has good intention. It's intended to protect children and women from family violence. The problem, though, is the way that it was putting that way. The wording in there, what they're trying to put in there is that and the legislative intent, which is how the bill is going to be put in practice, is that they put in there that parental alienation is not real, and it is a tool that abusive parents, often fathers, use as a tool to go against mothers and to take custody away from mother. And in effect, what it is parental alienation is being used as a tool that then end up getting children into the hands of abusive fathers. And then along with that argument, what they did is they present some work that very debatable, because we actually have seen peer-reviewed scientific publication that show that this work is not invalid, is not valid, where it claimed that majority of the case has happened because, like I mentioned, they claim that children are being taken away from safe and protected mothers and put in the hands of abusive father because of the term parental alienation. One thing that they presented. And then another thing that they presented is that there are many children that have been killed, 700, 800 children that have been killed by a parent due to, domestic dispute, especially in custody cases. Now, children being killed are very tragic and is devastating. And in fact, those cases are really because of parental alienation. It's the alienators that are often the one who kill the children, because that's the ultimate tool, right? To prevent the child from having relationship with the other parent is to kill the child. But what they're doing, these groups, this advocacy group or the activist group are doing, is they refuse to recognize that, and instead they actually blaming the term parental alienation and refuse to recognize it, and they blaming this term as being responsible for the death of these children. Instead of recognize that if we can recognize that parental alienation is bad, that it's real, they actually say that it's not real, and because it's not real, it's causing this death, essentially. And so the way that the law is putting out, it's refusing the term parental alienation being recognized in court, in family court and in custody. And not only that, it also refusing to allow parents to get reunification therapy. And then also budget are being allocated for judges to be, and lawyers and mental health professionals to be trained to learn that parental alienation is not real. This is very serious, because that means that if you are a victim of parental alienation, whether you are a parent or a child, you will not be able to defend your case in court, whether you use the term parental alienation or not. Okay, so don't even think that if you just avoid using the term parental alienation, you will get around it. Because what they're trying to say here is that if a parent loses a relationship with a child, and trying to claim that it's because of the other parent, the court will not recognize that. And you will not ever being allowed to have reunification therapy. And that's a parent that attempting to turn the child against the other parent will not get any kind of ramification. They will not lose custody. They will not have to give makeup time, anything like that. You will not get reunification therapy, and you also not allowed to get expert in court to testify for you when it comes to cases where your children being manipulated against you. And then judges and lawyers are being educated in a ways that not recognize the suffering that you are going through. So this is a very serious problem. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, this law that had passed, it's an appropriation bill that had $1.5 billion. It's a huge budget that is now getting the state to pass it through every state. And when a state that passes law, they're going to then being rewarded with a huge federal budget, lots and lots of money. And the money is going to go, like I mentioned, to go dedicated into training the judges and the lawyers and the mental health professional to recognize that parental alienation is not real. How ridiculous is that? So there's a lot of problem with this. Like I mentioned, at the federal level, there are still two bills that's still not passed yet. And then at the state levels, they are trying to pass this at every state. So right now, at the state level, there are two states that we found that have already trying to push this law through. One of the states is Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, they already passed this law. And it's in Pennsylvania is a Senate bill that starts from the Senate. It's the SB 78. And it's already passed the Senate. It's going to the House, and once it passes the House, it's going to get passed as a law, and that's going to be very serious. Right now, it's with the House in the Pennsylvania. Another bill at the state level is Illinois, and it's a House Bill 5310. This bill is still with the House right now, and it's going to be very dangerous if these bills are passed the way it is. Now, I am all for protecting children and protecting parents from domestic violence. That's really important. But we cannot do that at the same time destroying victims of parental alienation. We cannot, it seemed to me that legislators think that the end is going to justify the mean, meaning that, oh, if we can have someone to protect these victims, then at the same time, and while we're doing that, if we happen to destroy the victims of parental alienation, it's okay, because at the end of the day, we're going to save other children. I don't think that's the right way to do it. We should try to protect everyone, and it's possible to try to write a law that protect everyone without destroying someone. So what can you do about this? Now, right now, at the federal level, like I mentioned, there are two bills that have not passed. The bill that had passed, right now in this particular session, we may not be able to do anything about it. But the two bills that have not passed, if you are willing, if you are a victim, if you are an advocate in this field, please speak up. Please help bringing some kind of recognition in this. And if you wanted us to walk along the way with you, please let us know. But what we really need to do is we need legislators to put into legislative intent, and if possible in wording, to recognize that even though they're trying to protect children of domestic violence, they need to recognize that parental alienation is real. Parental alienation is scientifically found, is sound, and that parental alienation is psychological abuse as well as domestic violence, and that parental alienation organization, like advocacy group, should have a seat at the table when it comes to providing training and education for judges and lawyers and therapists and things like that. They also need to recognize that there are false allegations of domestic violence. There are cases where people are being falsely accused as being violent. And in those situations, if the court fail to recognize false allegations and put the children in the hand of the false accuser, then the child could be seriously damaged. So the need for the court to recognize that there are false allegations is very important. So these are the points that we really need to put in to get recognized for these bills that are very likely going to pass as a law, and it's not too late. So I'm asking anyone out there, to be potentially, if you have time, if you care about this, please let us know, to help us to bring attention to legislator at the federal level, and then as well as the state levels. We need to really make sure that because once it's passed, it's going to be very serious for all the victims of parental alienations. This doesn't affect me personally because I'm the adult child of parental alienation. My situation is over. My father had passed. I can never get that back. So it's not for me personally, but for everyone out there who are victims of parental alienation. Let's fix this. We can't get this, because once this passed through the way it is, it's going to destroy so many families. It's going to destroy so many children. So please, if you can, please help spread the word. And also, if you can help, please, we're looking for volunteers to help with this. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can help in some way. So please let us know. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day. We're going to talk to you again soon.